Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the University of Houston downtown for our visitors today. My name is Jay Zambrano. I'm the Vice President for Advancement and University Relations here. Thank you for joining us for this special installment of the President's Lecture Series. Today's program is especially meaningful as we continue our celebration of Black History Month, a time to honor leadership, creativity, resilience, and the voices that challenge us to think differently and lead with purpose. The President's Lecture Series reflects UHD's commitment to open dialogue and thoughtful engagement around ideas that shape our communities and our world. Through this platform, we bring together students, faculty, staff, and community partners to learn from the leaders whose experiences help us navigate complexity with courage and clarity. So before I pass it over to the provost who will formally introduce our featured speaker today, I'd like to share a brief personal note. And actually, I've got two notes now. I had the opportunity to meet our featured speaker today, Brian E. Francis, this past fall while participating in a leadership program through the LBJ School at the Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin. Brian delivered one of the most impactful presentations of the entire program, one that stayed with me long after the class has ended. His message was honest, challenging, deeply relevant, and we weren't ready. Once he finished his presentation, he was actually the last class of the leadership. If you can imagine, we were in that class for 3 weeks at different times. By that time, we wanted to leave. We were in San Antonio that day, and we wanted to get home. And his presentation was the last one, and we wanted to hear more. So that's why I brought him to UHD, because I wanted to share that story and that message that he has for us. So I'm very excited to hear the continuation of that presentation today. And I know he's got some new nuggets that he's going to share. But also the second note is, Brian told me a little while ago that his hometown is Giddings, Texas. And Giddings has importance in my life. As you all know, I'm from a little bitty town called Hebronville, Texas, down in South Texas, about an hour away from Laredo. Giddings, if you all take the shortcuts out to Austin, you'll pass through Giddings. Our high schools played, I'll just say, Brian's a little older than me by maybe a few years, but our high schools played in 1986. It is a game that forever lives in my memory, and I know with, of course, some of his folks from back home, it does also. That game ended 14-14, and we were able to advance because we got into the red zone one more time than the other team, but that was a battle of the ages. It was an amazing game, and I think all of us that shared the Friday Night Lights of the 80s, it will live for us forever. And I'm glad to hear that from Brian. And then we got to share the stories also where Cuero beat us the next week. And then the following year was LaGrange. So anyway, that was the deal there. But what an amazing story. But it was actually one of our failures that I'm going to add to the There we go. He's tying it into the presentation. So as you all know, Dr. Blanchard usually introduces our featured speaker, but unfortunately, President Blanchard is unable to be with us today. There's some business at home he needs to take care of, and so our thoughts are with him. But however, we're grateful to have Dr. Deborah Bordelon, our Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost, joining us and stepping in on his behalf. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Bordelon.
Thank you so much, Jay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And thank you all for joining us for the first installment of the President's Lecture Series for spring 2026. As you can hear, this morning when I got the call, I was like, okay, of all days, allergies and so forth. So we're gonna, we may be tag teaming. I may need to call an audible, so you might have to come in. Now, while President Blanchard is unable to be with us today, I'm pleased to step in on his behalf and extend his warm welcome to each of you. The President's Lecture Series remains a cornerstone of our academic and civic life at the University of Houston downtown. And it really does reflect our commitment to thoughtful dialogue, intellectual curiosity, and the leadership that serves the public good. It really is part of our DNA. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce today's featured speaker, Mr. Brian E. Francis. Mr. Francis is a seasoned public sector executive who has spent more than 3 decades working at the intersection of leadership and creative expression. He previously served as the top executive of the largest occupational licensing agency in the state of Texas, all while earning national recognition as a competitive slam poet and a finalist at the National Poetry Slam. Through the Transformative Leadership Program at the University of Adelaide in South Australia and the LBJ School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin, Mr. Francis developed an international and interdisciplinary perspective that continues to shape his approach to leadership, communication, and service. The President's Lecture Series brings voices like Mr. Francis to our campus because they challenge us. They challenge us to reflect, to question, and to grow. Today's address, When Failure is the Best Option, draws from his professional and creative experiences and invites us to rethink traditional models of success, embrace failure as a productive tool, and truly lead with courage through change. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Mr. Brian E. Francis. Mr. Francis, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's do. Is this microphone on? How's everyone doing? Y'all good? Okay, so you know you're coming back to your old home when you walk in the parking lot and everybody, you know how today's world, everybody's in their own little zone. And this gentleman right here, he looks up, he's got something on his mind. He says, "Oh, you're going to be the speaker today." Man, that just warmed my heart so much. Thank you so much for greeting me. You are the best representative of this university right there. That right there speaks volumes to the culture of this place. So thank you so much. Before I go on, I want to touch on 2 things. One, I have, my brother's somewhere around, but I have 2 of my lifetime heroes. And that means that when you're a child, these are folks that you looked up to. And then sometimes over your journey, they don't live up to what you thought about them as a child, but these 2 have always lived up to it. And I'm so grateful. So if you hear a little catch in my throat, a little nerves coming out, it is because these gentlemen helped make me who I am today. And so I love that they took time out of their lives and their schedule to be here. So thank you very much. And yes, Jay beat my team in high school. Let's just get that out the way. So this is one of my favorite subjects. It's failure. There's a reason why. We're all going to do it. And we're all going to do it a lot. Matter of fact, if you're taking enough risks, you're going to do it a whole lot. And so here's the deal. If you're going to fail, you might as well leverage it. You might as well learn from it. You might as well sift those beautiful messages from those experiences. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to really magnify failure. So this is a picture that my wife makes me put up for every presentation. She does all my slides. I have no ability to edit them. I'm extremely proud of what she does, though. But you're looking at a triacorn. And the reason why I'm a triacorn is because I am one of maybe 6 people in the history of the state of Texas that has led 3 state agencies. I led the Real Estate Commission. I led the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. You may have seen my name on gas pumps and elevators, or when you went to a cosmetology shop or a barber shop, that my name was in all that stuff. And I led the Texas Sunset Advisory Commission, which was a legislative agency. I am so humbled by those opportunities. And I'm here to tell you, I got to lead those agencies, and I'm an extremely flawed guy, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you how many mistakes I've made that have allowed me to achieve what I've achieved. So there's the other picture she likes a lot. I came back as the executive director for TDLR, loved every second of it. When you go back home, it's never the same, and I was worried. Is it going to stick? Ooh, she made me thirsty. If it's going to stick. But it did. And the experiences that I had, I talked about it on my LinkedIn page about going back and leading, part two. Part two, it's powerful to find yourself learning and unlearning what was successful for you. It's a powerful, powerful moment. Sunset Advisory Commission, I bragged to the other 5 executive directors for the Sunset Commission. I went there, interim, step in when the session's already going, and we passed all 21 of our Sunset Advisory bills. And I was like, Joey, how many did you pass? Ken, how many did you pass? Jennifer, how many did you pass? And it hadn't happened in 20 years. And it's because the team coalesced around my vision. They coalesced around my energy and how I wanted us to lead, and we did it. TDLR was considered a model state agency. What does that mean? We were doing the right things the right way for Texans. It's that simple. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. Well, what does the right thing mean? It just means doing the right thing for the right reasons for Texans. Like you're doing here at this university. The right thing for Houstonians. Transform 13 health programs. When you go from technical-based programs to healthcare programs, you have to have a little bit of a shift in your perspective, how you lead, how you engage. And it's so really expanded the way that we communicated with the people that we serve. Reduced about 30 million, got to really step into the area of human trafficking and bring some help. You can't cure it, but you can bring some relief, some respect, some integrity to the people that are caught in it. And we were right there at that cornerstone, that intersection with our massage program. A lot of people trafficked through that, and we were able to make a difference, and I'm very proud of that. The great and forgettable. Who's that cat up there? They know him as Shaq, but who knows him in this role? Kazam. The most unforgettable genie ever. Unbelievable. But I will tell you this. Shaq is part of my fraternity. He's an Omega. And I got in touch with his agent as Kazam. And I was like, hey, can you hook me up with a couple of wishes from Kazam? I don't know how long they're going to last. I think they got like an expiration date of 42 minutes or seconds. So they gave us 2 wishes today. And so I want everybody to avail themselves of that. And these are really what I call AKA leadership mulligans. You get to do them over. So I want you to think about 2 leadership mistakes or failures that you've made that now you get to erase. You get to erase from your leadership journey. Just think about it. Everybody's like, Lord, please don't let him ask me to name it. Let him think about it. I really want you to think about which 2 just pop into your head and you're like, oh yeah, that's the one. Now, my dad, Marshall Francis, when he cleared his throat, he's about to say something profound, either, dump the trash or make up your bed, but I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna ask you to do what I won't do. These are my greatest hits or failures. Failed to execute a game-changing information technology RFO. I screwed up. I did not get it done right. We failed to go forward with it. We put it out there for 90 days. We evaluated all the applications for 90 days, and we couldn't issue it because I made a mistake. Terminated a legal assistant, Faith, that was her name, because I believed the word of my general counsel over her work and her experience and her trust, and we terminated her. And that one still haunts me to this day because I was wrong. I sided with the wrong person because I didn't gather enough information about the situation. Failed to estimate the appropriations needed for an agency. So here's the deal. In state government, you got to guess how much money you want, how much you're going to spend 2 years before you do it. That's hard. I made it harder by being a fool up there. I had a little bit of hubris kind of kicking in because, I had some success and I'm like, woo, I can do anything. Yeah, and I can also make mistakes. I failed to terminate or I allowed a brilliant jerk. Now, this is where I want y'all to be careful. If you don't know what a brilliant jerk is, it's somebody that is incredibly smart. I mean, they are technically brilliant. They're brilliant, but they don't know how to talk to people, treat people, engage people. And if you can't think of the brilliant jerk in your organization, then it's you. So just carry that. That may be your lesson from my presentation today. Oh, Lord, I'm a brilliant jerk. So Zappos came with the concepts like anytime we find a brilliant jerk, we're going to pay them to lead our organization. Because like they said, we can find smart people who are also kind. We can find smart people who are also kind. Don't be the brilliant jerk. Failed to prep my boss thoroughly enough, and I allowed him to get just ambushed and beat up at a legislative hearing. And I prided myself on having him prepared. My boss, you'll meet him a little bit later, but he's white, Bill Kuntz. And I would give him what I call the red face test. I would beat him up and pepper him with questions until his face turned purple. I mean, I would just have him he's so embarrassed. I'm like, he's ready now. That was my standard. I don't know if y'all can do it on everybody. They couldn't do it on me, but I would burpleize Bill. That's a new word. Failed by overextending my agency in terms of number of programs consolidated in a short period of time. Again, that hubris kicked in. We had so much success early. Oh, we can do that too. Oh, we can do those 14 programs in 2 years. I put too much on my staff. Those are failures on my part. Those are failures that I had to live with, I had to learn from. And I settled in and they changed the way I led going forward. Here's the deal. That was a trick. If you took away your leadership failures, then you're going to rob yourself, and you would have robbed yourself of every lesson that they had. If I took the termination of faith off of that list, I wouldn't have developed my intense, rigorous review of applicants and finding out not just what that person told me this person is, but discovering it for myself and having different sources. I went back when I visited and led the agency again at TDLR, and I had a chance to redo that RFO that I screwed up on. I had a chance to redo it, and now it went from a $2 million RFO to a $32 million RFO. And I was able to improve and change because I learned that the boilerplate language needs to be reviewed just as thoroughly as these, exotic provisions over here. But what's in the boilerplate language is going to tie and cement your feet. You have to dive through it. Every failure we make, it's a learning experience. Here's the deal. It's happened. You failed. You done it. Now what? Most people, they hide. They run from it. They misname it. You know, Dr. Borderline, they'll call it a slight error in judgment. You know, really the team, collectively, we all stumbled. No, just own it. We failed. Oh, man. Spanning the globe to bring you the variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat, the human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports. Jim McKay, man, he was in the Francis house every Saturday, 3:30. And he would do that lead in. Okay, how many people know Jim McKay and watch Wild World of Sports? Okay, this is my people. How many of you can name the image that was associated with the agony of defeat? What was it? That skier, man. That skier. Everybody knows it. His name was Vinko Bogataj. Slovenian skier. He was competing in Oberstdorf, West Germany. And he was up there on the ramp. It was snowing, kind of crazy. They held him back for like 20 minutes. It's not safe yet. So they finally let him go after 20 minutes. And he's doing his run, and he's going a little bit faster than he wanted to. So he tried to kind of squat down a little bit to change the center of gravity so it would slow him down. When he did it, he stumbled. And when he did, oh my gooberknocker, that's an NBA word for y'all. Oh my gooberknocker, he slammed into the rail, flew into the crowd. Man, when I saw that the first time, I'm like, oh! I mean, you're watching the TV, whoo! And you flinch. And then there were rumors. You know, he died. What? Yeah, look at the fall. He suffered a mild concussion, broke his ankle. He's fine now. He's married, 2 kids. He's an award-winning painter, still living in Slovenia. Pinko's doing great. He's doing great. He didn't know that he was so famous in America until they did the 20-year anniversary. And Muhammad Ali rises up and goes over to him and says, I want your autograph. Your failure inspired me. It encouraged me because I see that you got up. I want your autograph. Okay. Who can recall the image of the thrill of victory? That's how it is. That's how our brains are wired. We remember the agony of defeat. We remember our defeats. We remember your defeats. Or we remember the negativity bias is real. It's born out of an evolutionary thought. When we were cave people and we ran across, I don't know, a T-Rex for the first time. And it ate everybody but you. You know what you said? T-Rex bad. I'm going to stay away from that. That rascal right there will eat you. We stayed away from things that killed us, that scared us. It impacts our relationships. Yes, the ones you're in right now, whether it's at work, whether it's on the highway, whether it's the relationships at home, it impacts them. And what it does, it says, I am going to multiply every negative conversation and communication that Jay and I had, and I'm going to kind of forget the good ones. But I'm going to remember what Jay said that hurt my feelings, when he let me down, when he didn't get me the gift that I really wanted. That thing's in there, and the negativity bias is telling you. That's really the truth. That's who he is. That's what it's about. That's how we're wired, y'all. Decision making, if you lose, if you fail, you're going to avoid that feeling again. You're going to avoid trying again. You're not going to step out and step in front. You're going to step away because you don't want that. You don't want that to happen to you. And then, of course, our brains, particularly the amygdala, has this way of intensifying and magnifying negative stimuli. It's just basically saying this stuff is scary and it hurts. We don't want it. That's what failure looks like. That's what failure feels like. I think failure really looks like that. I think that's what we see in our heads. I just made a mistake and everybody's watching me. Oh man, they're going to see me. I'm up in the air. I'm looking stupid with my little one curl hair out here. That's what we think. And Ford says, yeah, the only real mistake you're going to make is trying to kick the ball that you know she's going to pull from you. The ones we don't learn from. Those are the real lasting mistakes in our lives. The ones that we choose not to. And I'm telling you, it's a choice that we choose not to learn from. Those are the ones that drive you nuts and they drive you away. I want you to shift your perspective a little bit. I want you to literally see that mistakes and failures, they're gifts. Oh, that sounds so hokey. Oh, he's just, oh, I'm not hokey. I'm a tough man. I'm a tough man. They are gifts. And they're primarily for your future self. You just made a mistake. You learned from it. And now you're giving your future self the advantage of that information that will allow you to overcome it. They're gifts for your next challenge and for your leadership quiver. This was a big one for me. Every boss, every job you have is an opportunity for you to start filling your quiver. Oh, I like the way they communicated. Oh, I like the way they do evaluations. I like the way that they speak to everybody when they come in the room. I like the way that they get technically advanced, up to date on things. That's filling your quiver. The worst boss I ever had fueled and developed my leadership strategy more than any other boss ever has. I was on the grill at Sonic. Yes, I was a Sonic man. And the boss, who will not go named, Bob Nuzzi, I did that last year. Girl comes up to me on the break and says, Bob Newsy was my uncle. I said, but your uncle was crazy. She said, oh, yeah. We don't talk. It's like, oh, my goodness. But Bob Newsy, he was rude and he was aggressive and he was nasty and he was punitive with doing the schedules. And I remember as a 16-year-old, I said, if I am ever in a leadership role, I will never treat people like that. And that has been my philosophy throughout my career, a respect-based leadership philosophy. So gather your arrows from every boss you have, good and bad, and figure out how to use them and how to deploy them for the moment. Oh, this arrow will be perfect for that. And you're going to miss the first time you shoot, and you're going to miss the second time you shoot, and boom, you hit the target. It's something you have to practice. I don't want you to think you walk away and you can do the thing that you've never been able to do immediately. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes failure. Love this quote by Waitley. Failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker. Failure is delay, not defeat. It is temporary detour, not a dead end. Wow. That's so powerful. I mean, there's too many of us that think failure is the end all. That's it. I'm done. You're looking at the triacorn that had all those failures. It's not done. It's only starting in a richer way if you learn from it. I want you to think about what happens to people in your sphere, in your organization, on your teams when they fail. I know that we don't do executions anymore, but there are people who feel like it. Man, if I drop the ball, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get terminated. I'm going to get demoted. I'm going to be ostracized. I'm going to be embarrassed. All these negative thoughts start rolling in. That happens because of the teams and the environment that we as leaders create. That's where that comes from. They see failure. I remember early on in my career, Jay, I thought failure was punishable, absolutely unacceptable. And then I met an incredible leader who I'm going to introduce you to that changed my whole perspective and my whole relationship with failure. And it changed my trajectory for success. I mean, this guy, I can't wait for y'all to meet him. Bill's just amazing. That's Bill Kuntz. Lost him 3 years ago. That guy, was my boss, my mentor, my friend. Something else, y'all. I was telling one of the young ladies that when Bill and I would leave at the end of the day, we'd ride down the elevator and we'd get to the bottom, we'd hug each other and say, I love you, and mean it. We meant it. And that fueled me. Bill was an incredible leader. So smart, so focused, so prepared, so natural, so authentic. The man was strategic. He was anticipating those 2-year blocks for budgeting, but also our 4 and 5 year blocks for what we were going to do as an agency, how we were going to grow, how we were going to manage that growth. He was so incredibly strategic, and he was fearless. He was a Cajun boy, Louisiana. Oh, he had to let you know that all the time. Couldn't cook either. I was like, dude, you're a weak Cajun. That's what you are. But he was so fearless. I mean, there was nothing that Bill wouldn't take on. In this environment, I would love to see Bill today, because I think there'll be some fist fights. I'd love to see him in today's political environment, because we had to navigate a Democratic governor, Ann Richards, believe it or not, her appointees, and then Republican governors, Perry and Bush, as well as Abbott. And Bill, man, he did it all, but he didn't take no guff. Little tiny guy. He was about 61. When he was 61, he said, Brian, you know, I got retirement in my back pocket. I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me to do something I don't want to do. And literally, he was walking around looking for somebody. Please tell me I got something for you. But he was fearless. And Bill was one of the biggest failures I ever met. He was an incredible failure because he took so many risks. And because he was a failure and he had learned that if I fail, I'm going to fail fast and I'm going to fail forward in learning, he was incredible. He created this culture, not that one, even though that's a pretty darn cool culture, but he created a culture that emphasized nimbleness. He wanted us to be nimble. He wanted us to exploit every opportunity, be open to that. He wanted our agency not to be in the middle of the pack. Not, oh, look to the left and look to your right. And we've got all these state agencies even with us. He wanted us to be out in front. He wasn't worried about a headline that may cause and draw attention to us. He wanted us to be smarter and faster and more cost effective than anybody who was in the game. And when we made those mistakes, Bill didn't play the name game. He didn't blame anybody. He had a way, and he understood it before we read it in the book. That's always kind of curious to me. Bill never, when the mistake happened, he never said who was supposed to do that and why didn't it get done. And that's usually the response from most leaders. Who's responsible for that? Why didn't it get done on time? As a leader, if you start your questions with what and how, you're going to be more engaging. Hey, I know we're in a pickle right now. How can I be of service? How can I help? What do you need from me to support you? That leader, in the midst of a mistake, and that leader saying, what can they do to help? Man, you're lining up behind them. You're lifting them up. And that's the type of guy that Bill was, man. He was an incredible leader. His risk tolerance, which was incredibly high, his risk tolerance became ours. We were drawn to it. I remember this one time when in our agency, in our world, if we found that you, Luce, had violated this provision for the cosmetology program, we get a complaint. Our prosecutors are going to come after you, like dunk, law and order type thing. And we're going to do a hearing. We'll go to the administrative law judge. Most of them get resolved through an agreed order. Woo, you got me. I'm right. I won't wrong. I won't do it again. But some go all the way through, and like 7 or 8 every 6 weeks will come before our commission. And our commission becomes the judge, the finder of fact. And our prosecutors, they were nervous because they're in front of the 7 commissioners who were appointed by the governor. They're in front of me and Bill, and they didn't want to look foolish. So we were winning about 97% of our cases. Woohoo! We're winning these cases. And Bill comes back to the office, and he's red-faced on his own. And I think about it, he's hot. I'm like, what's up? And I called him baby. What's up, baby? Man, we winning too much. Are you foolish? I like to win. He's like, we're winning too many cases, Brian. I'm going to talk to the prosecutors. Call a meeting, sits down with the prosecutors. He says, we're winning too many cases. That means that you're only taking the cases forward that you know you can win. And you're doing a disservice to our consumer protection because you're not pushing the envelope of protection protections. He says, I want you to take the cases forward that need to go forward. And if we lose, we lose. Man, what type of freedom does that give you as an employee? When your boss is saying, in the course of your job, in front of everybody on YouTube, I'll support you if you lose. I want you to lose. That's the type of leader that Bill was. That's the type of culture that we built. That's the type of culture that you can build. Supporting your people on the smallest things. They're not small. They're huge. They're what they talk about at dinner with their family. You won't believe what happened today. You won't believe what they did today. Those are the stories that go back. You get to be a part of the story of, you won't believe what happened today. My boss said I can lose. The kids are like eating chicken, like, what? You can lose? You told us that. No. Losers is not for losers. It's for winners. You're going through this whole thing, but that's the type of environment that people thrive in. That's the type of environment that they love. Anybody tell me what that picture is of? Y'all need to get out on Wednesdays. Huh? Theater's close. Somebody said it. Improv. That's improv. So my chief transformation officer, Randy Nesbitt, comes up to me and says, hey, boss, I want to take the whole leadership training. Dr. Bordelon, you'll love this. I want to take him to a training in 2 weeks. And I asked Randy, I said, so what's the training about? Don't worry about it. And he knew that he was in an environment where that was going to be acceptable because I trusted Randy with my agency's life. I trusted him with that. So 2 weeks comes, he's like, oh, by the way, make sure you wear tennis shoes. Oh, what are we doing? And I'm still looking around the room. This was Brian before stroke. So I had a stroke a couple years ago. I'm like, I can still take all these suckers. If we're running, let's go. I'm fine. I'll race you. I'll dust you, George Ferry. So we go out of the building, walk down the block, and we go to an improv theater, the Hideout Theater. And we walk into an improv class. And so here's the top echelon of our organization going to an improv class. And the first thing they teach you in an improv class is you are going to screw up and you're going to look stupid doing it. And when you do it, you stop what you're doing and you stand up and you tell everybody, I failed. Everybody stops what they're doing from wherever they're at and they turn around and they start clapping. Way to go, Brian! He failed! Woo! Because they know on the other side of failing is learning. There's improvement, there's greatness. So in improv, they're always teaching you to just experiment. And so the 3 primary lessons from improv is celebrating failure, experimentation or prototyping, and then failing fast so that you can learn even faster. In a lot of organizations, we're going to undertake this project, and it's going to be a 9-month project. And they go 9 months, and they get to the end, and they realize, oh, it didn't work. And you've lost 9 months. If you're not building in these timelines, these elements, these milestones that says, oh, we need to pivot, and having the ability and the space to pivot, so powerful, so important. But the lesson that I loved the most was yes and. So here's a yes and. Give me any topic that comes to your head. Yes, ma'am. Yes, huh? Cooking. So my grandfather was a great cook. And when he would light up the barbecue pit, that if there were any stray kids in the neighborhood, they were in danger of being on the pit as well. Then the next person says, oh, my grandfather used to saute and marinate real children for at least 3 days, but then he would also put celery and some vegetables in there. And the next person would say, yes, the vegetables and celery were good, but I usually use those for stuffing little children. I don't eat children, first of all. And so yes and does this. Have you been in a meeting before where you have the super empowered devil's advocate? Bobby steps up, hasn't said anything in 3 weeks, and finally raises his little timid hand and says, well, I think that we should expand the so-and-so building. And the devil's advocate's just waiting to jump off a 20-story building on that idea. That's dumb. We can't build at 3 stories. We'd have to go through permitting and licensing. What about the construction costs? And we're going to lose six classes. We can't do that. End of conversation. These are the people that stifle and stop dialogue. What they're really doing is they're stifling and they're ending culture and collaboration and teamwork. Because a man's not going to raise his hand for another 3 years because he knows he's going to get pounced on. But when you have a yes and philosophy, I hear you want to build it 3 stories. That could work, but we could also think about just having a 1-story building that goes over 3 blocks. And maybe that will offset some of the costs associated, with air conditioning and the mechanical stuff. And the next person says, that's a great idea. What if we created an atrium within the center of that? And now all of a sudden these ideas and the collaboration and the teamwork is preserved and they're continuing to work together. And you come up with these incredible, innovative ideas that you didn't start with. Yes, and I would encourage you to attend an improv class, but be ready to say a lot. I failed, because it sounds like popcorn. I failed. You can't even keep up with it. But it's beautiful stuff. As leaders, I don't want you to forget that the relationship that your team has with failure is completely set by you. There is no one else who said they are listening to your tone, your words, when you come out huffing and puffing, boom, your door slams and you just, oh, Jay's all upset. Jay-Z's upset today. He had a failure and he's mad. The team sees that and they start figuring out, so this is what failure is and how it's supposed to be treated in an organization. He's modeling it for you, and it's not. All right. The cat misses 9,000 shots, nearly lost 300 games, was called on to make the winning shot 26 times, failed. Who is it? That's exactly who it is. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Let's don't get into the whole great LeBron and all that stuff because it's not an argument, people. Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Here's the thing that you may not know about Michael Jordan. In reading the book 11 Rings by Phil Jackson, he brings a Zen meditation mindfulness perspective to his leadership style. It's an incredible book. I've actually read it 3 times and listened to it once. It's just got so many nuggets. Oh, I love that book. But anyway, in that book, you get a glimpse of Michael Jordan. And he was, what did I fail on this preceding season? What did the great Michael Jordan suck on? Because that's what he's going to focus his whole off season on, is that weakness, that flaw. When he was getting beat like they should have had police at the daggone games. The Detroit Pistons, they had what they call the Jordan rules. And they were very simple. If Michael Jordan came into the lane, if you don't draw blood, you're going to be on the bench. They're punching. Not this little foo-foo ball that you're watching today, where everybody comes through the lane and they all stand back. He was literally getting assaulted. So that offseason, he's like, I got to get stronger. He put on 15 pounds of muscle mass. 15 pounds just to overcome not what they were doing, but overcome his failure that he was too weak to endure it. When they started taking shots at Michael Jordan and saying that his 3-point game's weak, so just back off, he spent the whole offseason working on his failure to hit 3-point shots, improved his 3-point shooting by nearly 30%, or 30 percentage points. He didn't play it safe, y'all. But Michael didn't sit back and rest on it. There are too many organizations that play it safe today, and y'all seen it. I don't know how y'all deal with it. It's tough. The environment is tough today. Y'all are under so much scrutiny and so much review and pressure by people who don't even understand what your job is. But it's out there. But here's the deal. You still got a mission. You still have a vision. You still have students. You still have faculty and administrators that need you to lead. And playing it safe is no way to lead. It does not inspire. I promise you, it does not inspire innovation. It doesn't cultivate curiosity and creativity. It doesn't bring it to the fore. And it keeps you in that place that Bill hated. Right there with the lumbering herd. Woo, we're running even with everybody. So you averagely low is what you're saying. And you're happy about it. And you've got to push the envelope. Playing it safe is not for leaders. It's not in your job description. You will never see a job description that says we want a safe leader. Just right between the lines. Don't you ever push us forward. Just keep it right here, Bobby. That's where we want you. We don't want to be dynamic. We don't want to be innovative. We don't want to have a culture of collaboration and effectiveness. We just want to be safe. That's not what leadership is about. It doesn't maximize service delivery to your customers, your students, and it doesn't provide that highest level of consumer protection. When Bill told those prosecutors it's okay to lose cases, he wasn't playing it safe because our reputation, the commission could be like, hey, why are we losing all these cases? It could be damage. But we expanded the protection for consumers by pushing the envelope. We shoved the envelope. And that's what's needed. So they got all these sayings that you should know. And if not, I just want to put them back in your head. Nothing ventured, nothing? Okay, that's good. Oh, you think they're all going to stay easy? Okay. No guts, no? Oh, I'm feeling you. Yeah, the setup. Fortune favors the bold. I see this guy right here. He's like, oh, I got all of these. So I've got to tell you on this next group of 3 in Jay's class, I'm not trying to say who they are as a people, but they nailed all 3 of them. And I was like so impressed. I'm like, oh my God, you're so good. And they're like, it's in our binder. Hurt my feelings. There is no reward without sacrifice, risk, close, okay? Without work. No victory without, say it again. Struggle. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, struggle's a good word. Try giving it to a 5-year-old. Keep struggling. Pain. Effort. No battle has been won without risk. Get those in your head. Take the picture of it. Take the picture, mental picture. But you need to walk around with these, particularly when you're in the struggle, when you're in the battle, when you're realizing that I can do exactly what everyone else is doing, and I will be exactly where they are. I will get out of this lesson, this moment, exactly what everyone else is getting, or I can get what's meant for me. I can push through this discomfort, this pain, this potential embarrassment that comes with failing. But man, on the other side, whoa, it's rich. It's rich. Oh man, this is my thing right here. Failure-tolerant leaders. They are leaders who, by their words and actions, they help people overcome their fear of failure, and in turn, they create a culture of intelligent risk-taking. Now, in my church, Shorter's Chapel AME, in Getting Sexist, somebody in the back would say, oh, that'll preach. Say it again, preacher. Yes, I will. Leaders who by their words and actions, they help others overcome their fear of failure right there, just guiding them through and helping them, supporting them to overcome their fear of failure, which in turn creates a culture of intelligent risk-taking and sustained innovation. It's not telling you to take a risk without thought. Just, oh, I'm jumping off the building because Brian said take a risk today. Yeah, parachute, cushion. There's some things you can do to support your fall. But I love the idea of failure-tolerant leaders. That sounds horrible. Oh, they're just letting people get away with stuff. No, they're letting your organization expand and innovate and create. They're letting them take risk. They're not being a part of the lumbering herd. Let's talk about some of those elements. So the failure-tolerant leader breaks down social and bureaucratic barriers that separate their followers. Too many organizations, the person comes in, the leader, parks their car in their reserved spot, gets on the elevator as quickly as they can. God forbid they have any interaction and talking to somebody that maybe works for them or works with them. And they get in their office and they close their door. Whew, they made it safe. They didn't have to deal with anybody that's on their team that may have a question, that may just want to say hi. They keep that separation there. No, you got to flatten that thing. You've got to, my executive partner, not executive assistant, my executive partner, Christina Guzman, Rhonda Reinhardt, they knew when I came in the door at 8 o'clock, I'm probably going to get to my desk about 9:30 because I'm talking to everybody. I'm acknowledging every eye contact, every nod. I am sincerely saying, Luce, how's your weekend? Did you see you've got a little boy, right? How old is he now? I want to know them. I wanted to know them because most leaders will say in the meetings that you're not in, you know what they'll say? Well, I know my team and I know what really drives them. and they haven't talked to their team in 6 weeks. They don't know their team, and they don't know what drives them because there's so much separation because we are nervous that you may ask the question about the budget. You may ask the question about why you didn't get the promotion, and it's a little uncomfortable to tell you that you're not good, but those things happen, and we're nervous, so we want to go to our comfort space, our office where we can close our door, look at papers, and do emails, and we are, oh yeah, I'm still in charge, but not knowing what the charge is, your people. Engage at a personal level, I did. Bill did. I know folks here do. I watched Jay Zabrano, walk in and acknowledge by name the security guards. I watch him acknowledge 5, 6 people in there. I'm like, that's my boy. That's what you do. You got to know people, man. Take the risk. Avoid giving either praise or criticism. This was a tough one for me. When I studied this one, what they were saying is that, because I'm exuberant if you haven't figured it out yet. And I'm like, woohoo, baby, how's that project going? Y'all good? Oh man, I bet y'all killing it. Oh man, no. What they really want you to do is to connect with your team and ask those very introspective questions to let them know that you are there to help. So I noticed that last week, y'all removed this from the sample. What was the thought process there? What is that going to achieve? Well, that's going to allow us to focus more on the X, Y, and Z. Oh, cool. Let me know how that turns out. They're like, okay, he's paying attention to what we're doing. And then you always leave with, let me know if there's anything you need. Let Christina know if there's anything you need. We'll make it happen for you. You guys are doing a great job. Openly admit their own mistakes. So on my top 10 list, when I overextended our agency, didn't get the budget amount that we needed, I'm in the town meeting, about 500 employees, about 300 in person, 200 online. And I stand up, with the improv training, and I said, hey guys, I failed. I didn't get the money we needed. And for 2 years, we're going to be suffering. And that's on me. And of course, in the back, what do I hear? Way to go, Brian! You failed! And there's this clapping that just starts coming up. Man, how supported did I feel, but how connected did we feel when they're like, we know you're going to do better. We know you didn't wake up that morning talking about, how can I shorten my agency $2.7 million? They know I didn't do that. But just the connection and them coming back and saying, way to go, Brian. Man, it still lifts me to this day. Root out the destructive competitiveness built into most organizations. Here's the deal. In my organization, we had a licensing, enforcement, compliance, general counsel, IT, CISO over here because they're weird. But they're all these separate divisions. Love my CISOs, love y'all. They're going to turn off all my technology. I turn you into a virus, Brian. It's so easy for those divisions to battle for your attention as a leader, for budget money. And it's so easy for a leader to have them compete against each other. No, we all wearing the same jersey. Now, them suckers outside, we will run them over. That's who we're competing against. We don't compete against ourselves. We don't pull energy from ourselves. We don't create these grudges within our organization. This is our family. Now, we may talk a little smack here, but you can't say nothing about my family. You can't attack us. And that's what organizations do. They'll pit themselves against themselves. And you can just see the visual. You're just eating yourself from the inside and eating the culture. So a failure-tolerant leader is the one who encourages, and this is one of the concepts I really love. They help their team understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a complement. It's a stepping stone. It is a piece of the success model. If you learn from this failure, then it's positioning you to have success sooner than you would. Oh, we failed. We're done. No. Remember what Whately said. It's not a detour. It's not an undertaker. Failure is a complement to success, not the opposite of success. We're all failures. At least the best of us are. I now call myself a very, very proud failure. I was president of that club for 1 year. Didn't get it the next year. That was one of my failures, but it's okay. Dad joke. J.M. Barry, who is that? Man, I love a smart guy. Who was that G over there? Peter Pan. Wrote Peter Pan. Ooh, it just gave you chills. Ooh. Let's talk about when you experience failure as a leader. You've got to own it with clarity. I say you got to name it and you got to claim it. Hey guys, I failed to get the budget that we needed. Just say it. Whew. It's out. Everybody understands it. Own that thing. Don't equivocate. Don't choose these little wishy-washy words. Say it. I failed to meet the deadline. I failed. You have to be transparent. First one that you got to be transparent with is yourself. We are the masters of lying to ourselves. We know the words that we can say to overcome the feelings that we have to make us feel better when we should be focused on getting better, but we'll give words to ourselves to make us feel better in that moment. So first of all, be transparent with yourself, then your team, and then your bosses. Some bosses don't like that order. Well, guess what? I don't know the exact answer on what we're going to do next that I want to tell my boss until I've included my team around my decision-making table. Okay, guys, here's where we are. What do you think we need to do next? I've involved them in helping me create the next step. It's just part of collaboration. It's part of respect. Study your failure intimately. I say date it. And don't stop buying it candy and flowers. And don't stop taking your failures out on romantic dates. Really get close into your failures. Lean into it. And it is uncomfortable. But once you dissect it, whether it's the planning or the execution phase or the communication phase or the collaboration phase, just get out. Okay, if I would have included these two voices in the table, we would have been better off. If I would have done X in planning, we would have been better off. Commit to rectify any harm. You have to. You have to. I failed. Here's what we're going to do to fix this, or here's what we're going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. Here are the things that we're going to put in place, the guardrails that'll stop us from going off. Do not solve by inquisition. That's that one we talked about earlier. Who was supposed to do it? Why didn't it get done? Your words matter. I'm a poet. I know words matter. This young lady over here had me doing some poetry today just because she told me she went to my webpage and saw some of my poems. And I'm like, what? Well, let me spit this one for you right now. Those words matter. They still matter. They always do. Understand through curiosity and respect. It's your tone. There's so many different studies. The one that I stick with says that 65% of communication is nonverbal. 35% is what you say. And it varies. It varies. It just basically says that your words aren't the only thing. Your body language and your tone are going to communicate it. Here's my example. You're sitting in the meeting. You're all talking and laughing, goofing off a little bit before the boss comes in. And the boss has had a horrible day. Hasn't said one word, comes in and everybody's like, oh crap. Jay's not in a good mood. And you can see it. You can literally feel it. When you're dealing with curiosity and respect, you better have your body, your non-verbal, and your verbal in alignment. It better be in alignment. They better know, Doc, they better know that you are sincerely wanting to ask, so what are some of the things that we could have done differently? Versus, so what could we have done differently? What? I mean, come on. Any ideas? As opposed to, come on, y'all, any ideas? Anything out there you think that can help us deal with the challenge we just faced? It's your tone. It's your body language. And if you have bad body language, that's what mirrors are for. That's what mirrors are for. I don't want anybody to say, oh, I got to practice what I say. Yes, you need to practice what you say and how you say it. I mean, I spent hours in front of the mirror with my poetry, making sure I didn't have poetry hand, but I aligned my words with this moment because I wanted them to be in alignment. I wanted you to know that what I'm saying, I mean. That's not acting. That's not manipulative. That is finding a way to communicate with true curiosity and respect and recognizing that we didn't all learn that. We didn't all learn that. We had bosses that, they really thought they were cool because they screamed and they, screamed in different octaves. And then know the vocabulary and energy will set the tone, and we kind of touched on that. Okay, so this is a two-part presentation. The second one is a lot shorter, deals with risk and uncertainty. But are there any questions on failure? And we'll have a Q&A after for the other part, but is there anything that's pressing in your minds right now? Okay. Yes, I'm still thirsty. I love it.
So did you have your team provide a written, like lessons learned or, something like that so that you could really learn from your failures?
Yes.
What was it? Is there a tangible?
An after-action review, which the military uses quite a bit. We employed that in our organization, and the tool that I came up with was name and claim the failure, then dissect it, and then under dissection, you dissect the planning. What did we do in the planning stage that led to the failure? What can we do that's different? Execution. If we had a good plan, what are the steps that worked for us? What are the steps that didn't work for us? What can we do different? Same thing for communication. And you just go through what things did I say? How did I say them? How did we communicate that led to the failure? You got to get that piece out. And then you can start looking at the counter, the other side of that. And then the last one was collaboration, which I think is so important. When you're building these, and I did a lot of cross-divisional teams, I was really, really careful and very, very inclusive. I'm going to get so-and-so, not just the person that heads that division, but I'm going down 3 layers. Because at the end of the day, this person is going to give me the ideas, and they're also going to be the one that executes that plan. So I would always go down layers and make sure that was intentional. And then when I had a failure, I'm like, who did I leave off that I should have included? Whose voice should have been in that room that wasn't included in that room? I love that question. I hope that helps. Thank you. All right. I got 10 minutes, so I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I led 2 agencies, come back to leading this 3rd one, and I am scared. You know the end, blank. I'm nervous. Y'all, I'm absolutely nervous. And here's a guy that, literally, the lieutenant governor and the speaker of the house said, we want you to lead this organization. And I get out of the car and I don't even know where the restrooms are. I'm just absolutely terrified. And the uncertainty of leading a legislative agency versus an executive branch, the gulf between that was huge. I was coming out of retirement. Do I still have my game? Or am I Michael Jordan after baseball? I mean, you're going through all this stuff. And the imposter syndrome was so tangible and so real. I want to emphasize that. The imposter syndrome for somebody who had led 2 state agencies was still there. I walk around with it. It's my twin. It's always kind of whispering in my ear. Maybe you're not going to do it good this time. Maybe you're going to fall a little short. Maybe you're not as good as they said you were. It's there, y'all. Just talk to it and say, you don't know who I am. I'm Marshall and Charles Etta's son. I'm the one who overcame these odds. Just watch me. Matter of fact, if tomorrow we played Hebronville, we would beat them. I'm just telling you, that's who I am. This is what you do when you face that. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Martian, but it is as simple as this. You just begin. You solve one problem. You solve the next problem. You solve the next problem. You get to go home. That's what leadership is about. Too often, we are trying to solve all the problems, this whole buffet of problems, as opposed to just the one that's immediately in front of us, that's really draining our energy, that's misdirecting our resources. You just keep solving them one at a time, one at a time. That's how you chip it. That's how you chip it. I'm going to skip this because my man's looking at me. I do like how he's kidnapped. I don't eat children on a barbecue pit. Let me get that out of there. I don't want that to be in the newspaper. But I want to get on this one right here. I can't do it. Johnny Vargas. He did a TEDx talk at Texas State University. Johnny's an engineer, and they have a summer program where they teach 5 and 6-year-olds. And I think it's kind of cruel, but I love it. 5 and 6-year-olds, and they're teaching them engineering principles. So they line them all up, and they're at their own table with all these little knickknacks. And they say, I want you to create a gear. A gear. What? A gear? What's a gear? And they're doing all that stuff, and they show them, and the kids do it. They got a little gear that moves, and they do it. And it's like pretty cool. And then they're like, okay, we want to ramp it up. We want to have multiple gears on there with the pulleys. Okay? And they do it. And they do it. They knock it out. And then he just goes crazy. And he says, okay, we're going to I want y'all to put together a car that will move with the gear. And these kids lose it. They just lose it, and they start screaming, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he says, that's when the learning begins. He says, I know you can't do it yet. He says, the magic of the word yet is that you have seen yourself achieving it in the future. It's just a matter of having your training, your education, and your experience catch up to the reality that you will do this. And that's the challenge. When we have a big, huge project that's thrown on us and we haven't done any of it before, haven't done that spreadsheet, hadn't worked with that software program, we haven't dealt with that division, I can't do it. No, you can't. Yet. And I really want you to think about that when you're faced with the biggest challenge that's in their life in that moment. Jesus say, I can't do it yet, but I'm going to do it. I know I've done it. I know I've done it in the future. Just a matter of me getting the right mentor, having the right conversation, getting the right resources, and connecting to the tools I need in order to be successful. Oh, I love this one. And then my wife put that one in there. Isn't she so amazing? The little girl, oh, my wife too. But the yet, gives me chills. All right, let's go. We're going to end it right there, y'all. We're going to end it there because I want questions. I want questions. So first of all, thank you. I think do we have a microphone or y'all good?
We had a question here, but didn't get answered.
Oh, I'll answer. Oh, you.
Okay.
Way to go, baby! You're going to hear that from now on. You're like, yo, you celebrate me.
Okay, so what happens, like, if you keep going through the same struggle, doing it over and over, like, for example, unemployment, for example?
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that and try to go with different obstacle? Like, how do you, like, what if you keep seeing the same failure over and over?
Okay, well, you start with the basics. Make sure that you're not sending out the same resume or application for different jobs. I ran across that in state government. There was a gentleman who just couldn't get a job with my agency, and we're talking. I'm like, so let me see your application. Let me see your resume. And he had the generic resume. In state government, you've got to craft your skills and your experience to that job description. So when it says, looking for somebody who's organized, I was organized in providing X, Y, and Z, literally parroting back the words to get through the screeners, because now they got AI screeners, and they have, in our case, we had Amy, and Amy was the original AI. She was crazy. But she would screen things out because it didn't match the words. So make sure that your applications and your resumes are worded so that they are speaking specifically to what they want, even if it sounds elementary to you, to repeat that I am organized, I'm a fast learner, I'm an X, Y, and Z. Say it to get to that chair, to the interview. Okay? Great. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I loved your talk. It was very inspirational.
Thank you so much.
But I'm sure you know we don't retain everything that we hear. And I was wondering if I could get a copy of your slides.
Yes, I've got them here, and absolutely. And in the slides, as you know, there's some notes that will assist you and expound a little bit more. You know, my poetry side, I've got to memorize everything, spanning the globe. It took me like 20 minutes. Yeah. He goes by Jay-Z. Yes,
Hi.
ma'am. Oh, yes. How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
Hi, my name is Mariana Lassen Bradford, and my question to you is, how do you deal or how do you manage a abrasive devil's advocate?
You manage them with your core values. You manage them with your culture's expectations. So when I dealt with my brilliant jerk, who was a dear friend of mine, and we just sat down and I was like, hey, Glenn, you're not exhibiting the core values of integrity and respect. Here are two examples where you talk to a coworker and it wasn't living up to who we are, who we say we are. I said, I would never speak to you the way that you spoke, to Rhonda. I said, our core values, they seal the deal. They set our standard. And if we in leadership positions are not exhibiting the core values, then why are we expecting anyone else to? And so I started with the core values, and I hit him with integrity and respect. Then he tried to throw back, well, what about open and free communication? I said, you're open and free to communicate, but respectfully and with integrity. Those things are not contradictory. They complement each other. They go together. And so you may get a little bit of pushback, but if you start with the framework and the foundation for which your culture was built and why it's there, then you're not doing a personal attack. You're not belittling them. You're just saying, this is who we are. This is who we say we are to ourselves and say we are to the world. I need you to step up and live up to it. Thank you.
Hello.
You did not fail. Here's the question.
Well, it's back to my mind now, but being a student here, through the communication department, classes you take, and then working out in the field, you get an opportunity to understand what the bread and butter is when you're out there. When you experience failure, you go back into the psyche of it, the physiology of it, your endocrine, when it's fight or flight.
Oh, man.
And so, my question to you, or my statement more just to converse back and forth with you, when that moment happens and you go through failure and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, you're saying you have to admit that and let it be known. That's why I did that when you came around the first time. To do that takes a skill and it takes a get up and go as well. But one thing that I've had to understand when learning the psychology behind it with the classes and actually putting it into play is like, when that happens, it's like you get stuck. It's kind of like what you were going in your presentation.
You're in your primal brain.
So I mean, like, it's like you have to keep repeating and trying it after and after again.
Yeah.
Correct?
That is. And the other thing is, if you can get some stillness, just a little bit of distance between your realization of the failure and the time that you have to communicate, if you can get some stillness, if you can create a little bit of space for you to reflect on your own, really think through it, sit with it. It's painful, man. I was embarrassed. I was absolutely embarrassed when I dropped the ball on that RFO. Man, and I had a career of successes. I was so embarrassed, and I was angry and embarrassed when I found out just 2 months later after we had fired Faith that the document that he was claiming she had misplaced was in his office the whole time. And that hurt me. I didn't get a chance to tell her that then. I talked to her boss, not him, but the legal assistant's boss. I talked to our HR people. I'm like, don't you let me do this crap again. Don't let me dive into a termination without diving into it. And I finally saw Faith like 3 years later in a grocery store. Man, it was tough to look at her. And I said, how are you doing? I told her I'm so sorry about what I did to her. Not what happened, but what I did. And she's like, Brian, it's okay. I found a better career path. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And she was doing great.
So it's safe to say that when it comes to failure, it's really yourself or your environment that you're in to succeed there. There's some detail you're not paying attention to. You know, gentleman detail, my wife said that every time you details to return. So it's like always detail. You're not detailed enough in it.
The details are there.
So, to go into detail, for myself, it took me, I'm older than Steve.
Don't look it. You're not cracking.
It's time to go through other failures and things as well. This May seems to be the year that it's going to happen. So
Beautiful.
I've understood what the detailed intuition that you have to have with going towards success or something. So
And it's great.
follow.
And you just paved the way and abbreviated somebody else's path by just saying that out loud. Thank you. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I want you to please kind of differentiate the whole idea of failure and failure to want, failure to try. Let's start, because that's even before you fail.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
talking about not even trying first. So
And-
how do you get over that?
And that's beautiful. What you really pointed out is predicated on past failures that you've had. That creates that avoidance. That says, I'm not, that whole amygdala brain and the wiring of negative and intense negative stimuli, the whole evolutionary thing, I'm not going to get eaten by that T-Rex again. So I'm not going to go to the zoo where it's just bones of the T-Rex. You're just avoiding it. And so you have to teach yourself that this opportunity, it is standalone. This challenge is standalone. You can bring the best of your experience to it, but you have to tell yourself, when you're like, oh, I can do X, Y, or Z, and you choose to do nothing, that's a choice that has consequences. And I would argue that the consequences associated with doing nothing are stifling innovation, creativity, collaboration, trust. There is an opportunity in that thing that you were going to undertake to grow somebody, for them to gather some new leadership skills, new opportunities, and you just deprive them of it. There's so many roads that are cut off because we choose not to do anything because we don't want to be embarrassed or we want to stay in the crowd. So you have to really teach yourself that this new challenge that I'm facing, one, I've overcome challenges in the past. Yes, I've had failures, but I'm going to choose an option. I don't like the no option, particularly if there's some on the table, particularly if you can hone it and pivot and craft it to be in something for team success. Jay? Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I will share a poem for you. Okay. All right. I'm going to do, I'll do a bit of this poem, okay? She had eyes as deep as African history. Bulging with joy and innocence, she was just 3 feet tall, but she stood like a giant in my heart. Her smile, let's just say it, her smile is still in the CDC's top 10 list of most infectious diseases. Believe me, baby, I know. Because I've been exhibiting the symptoms of her presence ever since the first time she crawled into my soul. I mean, my office. I barely saw her move out of the corner of my eyes, but I heard her giggle as she tried to hide behind a 3-inch stack of files. So I played along and acted as if I couldn't see her. But the truth is, I couldn't help but notice her sloping smile, her protruding forehead, and her heavy clumsiness. Because see, in most societies, some people would call her retarded. See, she was far from the Gerber baby. She was already pre-approved for a life of small buses, pitiful stares, and punchlines because she wasn't the healthy baby that some others are blessed with. But she was that happy baby that some mothers get to choose. And so with each giggle, she crawled deeper and deeper into my soul. I mean, closer to me. And just as she was about to grab me, Jay, I turned around and grabbed her by both hands, and she laughed so hard. You know how little kids laugh with the whole body? Well, that wasn't enough for her. So she borrowed parts of mine. And somewhere between her giggles and my laughter, we had the symbiotic connection, and I'll leave it at that. So, it's a poem that I did for a 9-year-old daughter of one of my former coworkers who passed away from Down syndrome. And I did it. And I finally got to do the poem for her mother like 7 years later. And it's got her name in there. You know, she was named Camby. We named her the Camby Belongo. It's the river that flowed from the Kunta Kinte's village. We love the movie so much, and we love the name so much, and we love our Camby so much. And they say there's no sweeter words than the sound of your name unless it's said by your mother. And Camby lit up the waves of excitement crashing to her ever-deepening dimples. It was a perfect compliment to her imperfect roundness of her face. She looked like a chipmunk on steroids. She looked like she had just swallowed Dizzy Gillespie in the middle of B flat. Her cheeks were chock full of laughter, like she was storing it up for the winter. But at age 7, how could we know she would only have 2 more winters left? But now we know she wasn't storing that laughter up for herself. She was storing it up for us and our winters to come. So just before she left, her mother said, Camby, you want to give Mr. Francis a hug? And before she did, she grinned this big wide yes, and she raised them fat arms with them matching chubby fingers around my neck, and she squeezed me into a smile. And in that instant, I knew what it felt like to be laughter. And then I sing, take my hand, let's not fall, 'cause I'm tired. Thank y'all for letting me do poetry. I hope I didn't embarrass you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
How amazing. We're going to have to bring him back to do some more of that. But again, Brian, thank you so much. Another round of applause. Brian, I don't want you to think there's a lot of folks that had 1 o'clock class and some meetings, but we can tell it was packed because all the lunches are gone. So, but anyway, this concludes the President's Lecture Series for today. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules and being out here with us. We will be sending out information on the next one, so keep your eyes out. But again, thank you so much, Brian. Again, one more time for Brian Francis. Thank you for coming.